Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, I want to do something a little bit different. Typically I make videos about living, working, playing here in Atlanta. But in this video, I want to address a question that is just coming up almost daily from across the board, colleagues, friends, family, clients, and that is, when are home prices going to come down? Are they going to stop rising? And I give you an idea, the average home price here in Atlanta just hit $379,000. That's up 18% than this time last year. Our inventory levels just dropped below 1 month. It's down 48.5% than it was last year. So homes are just disappearing. But the other problem is new listings are also down 19.4%. So everything's being sold off the market, but we don't have any new listings coming onto the market. Now you may be saying, Anthony, well, I'm not even gonna deal with the resale market. I'm just going into new construction. There's no competition there. It's a much easier process. The prices are what they are. Pump your brakes. If you've seen any more of my recent videos, you know I talk a lot about new construction, and I absolutely think that that's one of the best options right now. However, prices are increasing if you paid attention to the real estate market, and especially over the past year with coronavirus and all that's going on with back orders and lumber prices. Lumber prices alone have skyrocketed over 100%, over 10 to 15% just in the past month. So that's something to pay attention to. Depending on the builder that you're dealing with, I would make sure that's written somewhere in that contract that, when you sign a contract for a specific price, that price is gonna stay there. There's a lot of fine print that I've been seeing in contracts recently that say the builder can raise that price as high as they want at any given time, and you got to pay it. And that a lot of that has to do with the increasing lumber prices. The timelines are being stretched out because appliances are back ordered. But just a lot of moving parts that you have to pay attention to if you're just gonna willy-nilly jump over to new construction. There's some things you need to pay. But what does this really mean to you as a buyer? You really need to be educated when you're going into the market. If you're not already working with a realtor, you can contact me. I'd love to work with you. But if you are working with one, make sure they're being fully transparent with what's going on in your region, in your market. And to give you an example, so a house hits the market. You need to be on top of that house within 24, 48, 72 hours is almost too late. If you wait through a weekend, that house is most likely gone. So being super aggressive up front, get in there, see that house, get your offer together, know that there's gonna be multiple showings, multiple offers, and you just have to be as aggressive as possible. Be prepared to pay at asking or well above. And if you're gonna pay above asking, keep this in mind. Don't just throw a figure out there and say, well, it's a $400,000 home, we're gonna get $425,000. Keep in mind that you need to write in those stipulations that you're willing to pay the difference in that appraisal value and what you've offered on there. So if that house appraises for $400,000 and your offer was accepted at $425,000, you're gonna have to bring up $25,000 at the closing table. So to have the most competitive offer, you need to write that in the stipulations that you're willing to do that. Also, if you're trying to negotiate closing costs, you've lost that house. Be willing to pay closing costs. To make your offer even more competitive, you could reduce your due diligence period. Now, typically here in Georgia, it's 7 to 10 days, depending on the offer and the house and how competitive it is. You can bring that down to 5 days. Now, keep in mind that during that due diligence period, that's when you do your inspection. So you got to give the inspector time to get out there, do the inspection, put his report together, time for you guys to review it, to put together your amendment to address concerns and get that back to the seller. So there needs to be a little bit of cushion in there, unless you're waiving your due diligence period. Now, if you do that, that means you don't have that cushion in there. Like if your offer gets accepted, you don't have the opportunity to do the inspection and ask for repairs. Now, you can do the inspection, but just know that you're not gonna have any time in there to ask them for the repairs. It's basically as is and you're moving forward. You could also be fully pre-qualified in advance. That means go all the way through underwriting, through the whole loan process. That gets you closer to a cash buyer. When you reduce that financing contingency time, typically 14 days, 21 days, depending on the lender that you're working with, you could reduce that as well. So there's a few different things that you can play with to make your offer more competitive. Now, something else to keep in mind is the type of loan that you're using. So in this market, conventional loans are the best. Well, number one, cash buying is absolutely the best. So if you can do a cash buy, that's the way to go. Not everybody has $500,000 laying around that they can just throw out for a home. So if you're going to do financing, try your best to do a conventional loan. Talk to your lender about this on how you can get there. If you're doing an FHA or a VA loan, I hate to break this news to you, those are great loans, and they're great loans for the buyer, not so great for the seller. So immediately, if you're in a multi-offer deal and you're bringing in an FHA or a VA loan, you're already a few steps down the rankings. So it's something else to keep in mind, that what type of loan that you're working with. Now, how do you get a conventional loan? Well, you got to work on your credit score. You got to have a higher down payment, and you can talk to a lender. You know, these scores are always changing. The rules are always changing on exactly what you need. I lean heavily on my lenders for this information. So, but you have to have a higher credit score. You have to have a good, strong down payment in order to get that conventional loan. So the question is, are home prices going to come down? Well, a couple of things would have to happen. Number one, the interest rates. The interest rates would have to increase substantially in order to pull some of those buyers out of the market. As I mentioned earlier, you know, they were in the high 2s. They've crept up just slightly into the low 3s. It's still a very, very strong interest rate. Unfortunately, the Treasury is not going to let them go up much higher. And so I doubt that the interest rates are really going to have that much of an impact anytime soon. The other thing is if the inventory levels change. So, you know, a lot of people are theorizing that the forbearance from last year, that we're going to see a flood of foreclosures come onto the market this year. Well, again, you know, the new administration has pushed some of those dates back. And there's a lot of data that they're not talking about is, you know, really how many people are behind on their payments. That even though, you know, there are people in forbearance, I mean, many of those are up to date on their payments. So even if we saw some foreclosures with the forbearance date pushed back a little bit, you know, if somebody were to default on their loan, that's a time period in there, and it's sometimes, you know, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months before we see anything on there. So I seriously doubt anytime this year we're going to see a drastic change in inventory levels. The home prices that we're seeing right now that have been going up are projected to keep going up another 10% by January of 2022. So, you know, unfortunately, I wish I could tell you, yes, absolutely, home prices are coming down and it's going to be wonderful, but I just don't see that happening anytime soon. So the best thing for you to do is, again, you know, educate yourself, talk to your realtor, know your current financial situation, know that the offer, you know, the offer that you have and you're going to put on is the best that you can put forth, and that you have the strongest financing. So a few things that can be done to prepare yourself for the rest of the year and these increasing home prices. So, you know, again, this video is a little bit different, and I didn't mean to scare anybody, but I want you to know what the market's like right now. If you're going in as a buyer, know what you're getting yourself into, prepare yourself, educate yourself, you know, work on your down payment, work on your credit score, constantly talk to your realtor and your lender so that you know the current market situation, so that you have the best chance to win the offer when that time comes. So again, you know, a little bit different video, but hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully you got something out of it. If you have any questions at all about moving to Atlanta, if you have questions about the real estate process, you know, hit me up. I'm gonna leave my number here. You can call or text anytime. My name is Anthony LaBorde. I'm a realtor here in Atlanta. I'm with EXP. I also own my own company, LaBorde Realty Group. So I would love to help you. I have a lot of experience here in the real estate market. I've been in Atlanta for over 25 years, so I can help you getting situated here with schools, locations, with neighborhoods, and I'd love to hear from you. Until the next video, you guys have a great day.